Hey guys, Nicole Herrick DIY here with you. Today I'm going to take you on a tour of my camper van. Now, just to give you the very short version of the story, so this van was actually purchased by a French couple, lovely young couple. They were living with me and they wanted to buy a van, do it up to live in and travel around Australia. So I actually sort of helped them do the initial design, and because I've got loads of tools and stuff, so I was like, hey, do you need some help? Because I want to help. So I designed it on the computer for them just to sort of see what kind of layout they wanted. So we started by ripping everything out and we installed some insulation. We used earth wool and we put in just a floor and a little bit of a makeshift ceiling and some walls. Then we built a bed that would accommodate Simon. Simon was about 6 foot, I think, so we needed to make sure that he had enough room to sleep all the way along. And we also did the kitchen carcass and a little cupboard over to the side here, but we actually didn't end up sort of finishing everything off, so we didn't have time to put in any electricity or a sink or anything like that. So they just had sort of the basics to go and travel around with. And then when it was time for them to leave Australia, sadly they were up in Queensland and it was the middle of winter and nobody wanted to buy a van at that stage, so I ended up buying it off them because then I could finish off sort of the design that I'd helped, in the beginning with. And I was really excited to sort of finish off this kitchen cabinet, and I ended up ripping all the ceiling down and putting in all the wiring, and had a friend sort of help me figure all that out, which was amazing. But yeah, it took me I think 3 years to actually get through all of the tasks and to learn everything. Learning the 12-volt wiring was definitely the hardest bit, but I'm so glad I learned it. It was such an amazing process to be able to understand, and now, anytime I need to do something like that, I actually know how to do my own, 12-volt solar setup. So another skill to add to the bag of skills. All right, let's show you a little bit of a look on how the final result is looking. The new owner is coming to pick it up tomorrow. This is my last chance to film a proper walkthrough. So let's take a look. So the bed is a couch, obviously, and you can pull it out to be a full size or double size. And underneath, and also the good thing is that it has some extra room up the end here. So if you were sort of 6'5" or something, you could still have your legs off, and you could also build yourself a little platform with an extra cushion up there so that you could actually sleep the whole length of this van, no worries. Under here, we just have some storage tubs. So these just pop out, so really handy for clothes and things like that. The solar system is a 250 watt solar panel on the roof, and I have a 200 amp hour battery. So that runs things like the lights. I have lots of different outlet ports. So there's cigarette lighter style and there's USB style here. And then I've also got some more over here. There's another 4 USB style outlets. And these all have their own individual switches, so you can leave stuff plugged in, turn it off at the switch. I also put the dual rocker switch for the 2 separate water pumps here, just so it's easy to turn on the tap. You can also pop this one out the window and have outdoor showers. Underneath the sink there is some storage space as well as access to those switches. There's also the hot water pump that lives under there as well. The tanks for the drinking water and the grey water are located in here. So the blue one is the grey water, and then the clear one is the drinking water. The warm water system is just a very simple black jug which is laid in the sun, or you can also top it up with some hot water. And then you simply need to bring it up onto the bench top and then plug the hose into the white cap and turn it on. And you can also turn on the hot water pump, and that will give you a nice warm, lukewarm shower, depending on how hot it is outside. In this cupboard, there is just more storage space for things like food, seeing it's opposite the kitchen. And there is also this little L bracket, which gives you a secret hidden desk. So just in case you're wanting to do some work on your laptop or iPad indoors, you just pop up this panel and use the wing nuts that are already in place to secure it. Then you can adjust the bed to be at the right distance for you so that you can sit comfortably at a desk. Obviously, when traveling in a van, you do a lot of your living outdoors. So there's just a couple of very simple camp chairs. And then I've also got a camp table neatly tucked away on the back door. And then you bring these out, and I've got just a tarp awning which clips onto the van's rails with some roof rack clips. And then I just have tent poles which hold up the other side. The lighting that I used is simply some 12-volt LED puck lights, and I've also got some ornamental solar-powered bulbs there. We've also got a sunroof or sun vent, and it has a fan that sucks the air outwards to get all that hot air out that's been trapped in the van. I do also have a little double fan that's 12-volt inside the van, as well as a little aircon cube. They work surprisingly well. The fridge is up the front of the van. That's just so that you can get to it whilst you're driving, and then it's also easy to sort of reach over and grab stuff when you're inside the van or outside the van cooking. It is surprisingly big, even though it's just a little tiny one. You just have to plan strategically. And I also put its own outlet port up here so that the cord reaches it easily. So I did a 250 watt flexible solar panel so that it was light enough that I could lift, and I created a system where I could slide the solar panel off anytime I wanted, pop on an extension cable that I made, and place the solar panel in the sun whilst parking the van in the shade. It also has a security bolt which goes all the way through to the inside so nobody can steal your panel whilst it's on top of your roof. I'll show you how to put this in, seeing as that's the more tricky thing than taking it off. So I basically slide it in on a diagonal using the side rail and the top rail to sort of guide it into those. And obviously it's a slightly curved roof, so you just have to sort of maneuver it in, give it a few taps. And then you can take off the little waterproof cap that I have where the security bolt goes through. So just peel that back, pop the security bolt through to the inside, but don't actually secure it yet. Next, you slide 2 bolts into the T-track, and the head of the bolt actually goes into the T-track. Just goes up into these 2 eyelets of the solar panel, and then you secure them down using a spring washer and wing nuts. The solar panel is actually glued to a piece of core flute, which allows some airflow through so that it doesn't get too hot from the top of the metal roof. And next, you just unclip your waterproof housing for the Anderson plug, clip it in. You can hear a little click. And then you can secure these cables just underneath the roof hatch just there. And then it's time to secure the bolts on the inside, and then that means that nobody can ever steal your solar panel. So the solar panel power comes down into a CTEC DC to DC converter, and then it gets converted and goes into the auxiliary battery. And the CTEC DC to DC charger also takes power from the alternator as you're driving. So even if it rains for weeks, you can still charge the auxiliary battery by driving. There's an isolator switch, and everything is on its own fuse. So you can check if anything is not working correctly. So the auxiliary battery is 200 amp hour, which is more than enough for this small kind of van. You can plug in pretty much anything and it will run it. It also has a Bluetooth monitor, so you can check how much charge the battery has, and it also has a temperature sensor so that the CTEC will actually shut off if the temperature is too much. And if that happens, you can turn this fan on. Actually, no, you can't because it doesn't work. I'm very sorry, new owner. I couldn't get that working. But you can take the lid off the battery, open the doors and let it cool down before switching it back on. And the CTEC won't let you switch it back on unless it's all safe. So that's the end of the tour of my super budget van build with lots of functionality and just a little bit of cuteness. I've got lots of footage of some different things that I did throughout the sort of van rebuild. All of the electrics, I have lots of footage of that, how I planned everything out, how I mounted the solar panel, how I did the curved ceiling. So let me know if some of these things might be of interest to you, and I can put together some videos on the specific tasks of all the different things. As always, thanks for watching. Okay, here we go. It's the moment of truth. I'm going to turn on this system and see if all this wiring I've done over months and months and months has worked. Turn her on. We got power! Woo woo! We got lots of power.